pitches middle, intercepted, picked off at the 30. Matthew Littlejohn.
Mendoza hit as he throws and gets it to Jaden Ott down the sideline. Jaden Ott into the end zone.
3rd and goal. He escapes. Mendoza flips. 9 yards and the freshman's first as a Bear.
Hit as he throws, and it's Grizel. The catch, and Grizel is gone. Touchdown, California. And the Cal Bears will win the 126 big game. Welcome to Memorial Stadium. It is the California Spring Showcase on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Strawberry Canyon. Yes, we're in Berkeley for some Cal football, wrapping up the spring, their 15th and final practice. And the Golden Bears did a lot of great work this spring and have a lot of momentum heading in to the offseason and then the fall for Cal Football 2024. Along with Michael Bumpus and our Pac-12 Network crew, Roxy Bernstein with you. And Bump, Cal finished the season strong last year. 3 straight wins, getting to a bowl game. There seems to be some momentum brewing and a lot of excitement around Justin Wilcox's program.
Yeah, Wilcox is doing his thing, man, but it starts with that quarterback, right? And that running back. The defense is one of the best in the country when it comes to taking the football away, but it's about taking the necessary steps to get better every single day. That's what spring's all about.
Yeah, the quarterback competition, Fernando Mendoza and Chandler Rogers, a transfer from North Texas. We'll get a look at both of those guys today, as right there, Mike Blesh took over late in the season when Cal parted ways with Jake Spavital as the offensive coordinator. Mike Blesh, the offensive line coach, was promoted, and now he's had an entire spring to run through the offense.
Love everything about his offense, man. It starts with the big boys, that offensive line. He's connected to that offensive line. He goes, look, we're still running my stuff, but this young man right here is what makes this offense go. He does have a competition coming up this spring, but so far he's in the league. Looks a bigger out there, Roxy.
He said, I'm a legit 225 now, as he added about 10 to 15 pounds. Fernando Mendoza will get pushed by Chandler Rogers, who had great numbers last year for North Texas. Oddly enough, Bump, the first game of last season, Chandler Rogers started against Cal.
So he was here just checking out the scene and saying, you know what, I think I like this place. But, man, the numbers don't lie with this young man. 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 3,300 yards. True competition. Let's see who wins.
So we'll get to see those guys go at it today. And this competition, nothing's going to be decided today. Yes, Fernando Mendoza is the incumbent starter, but they're going to have all fall in camp to see who makes that start opening up day for California. The other side of the football, on the defensive side, Peter Sermon has a lot of talent back. Some questions at linebacker up front where they had so many injuries on the D-line, but they love their secondary.
Yeah, they love the secondary. 28 takeaways. They played a big part in that. And it's about being multiple on defense. That was the word that we kept hearing. Be multiple. Ninth when it comes to points allowed. But you see that big number at the bottom, Roxy. 28 takeaways, the best in the country. That's a great place to start.
And plus a lot of pass breakups by those guys. And they added some talent to the back end of the Cal defense. We'll get it started next, and we'll hear from the Cal head coach, Justin Wilcox, the California Spring Showcase. You got it on Pac-12 Network. On a spectacular Saturday afternoon, the Cal Spring Football Showcase from Memorial Stadium. With Michael Bumpus and our Pac-12 Network crew, Roxy Bernstein. There's the head coach of the Golden Bears, Justin Wilcox, entering. Justin, it's year 8 already. My goodness.
It, man. Time flies.
You still look like you're in your 20s.
Oh, thanks, Roxy. I appreciate that. I know you're lying, but thanks.
You're wrapping up the spring today, and the obligatory question, Justin, how was the spring gone for your team?
Really good, honestly. I love the attitude these guys have had. These guys love football, and so when the players enjoy coming out and practicing and going to meetings, and they love that process, it makes it a lot more enjoyable for us coaches, and we know we got a chance when we got guys that love football.
Coach, word on the street is you threw everything at your guys when it comes to the scheme, all of that, how they've handled the playbook.
We did. We, in past years, I think kind of a traditional model is you dip your toe in and practice by practice, but we really put a bunch in early, offense, defense, and threw everybody into the deep end, so to speak. And I think the guys did a really good job. It takes more time outside of the practice field to get comfortable with that stuff, but they did a really good job of that, coaches and players alike.
The momentum, Justin, that your team was able to capture at the end of the season, winning your final 3 games, you beat Stanford again, you hammered UCLA at the Rose Bowl to go to a bowl game. What did that do for this program heading into the offseason?
Well, I think it speaks to the guys on the team and how much they love the game and how much they want to compete. Obviously, there were some tough moments last year, but to end the regular season with 3 wins and having to win those 3 to get to a bowl game, I think it speaks volumes about the players on the team. I think we got some really strong veteran leadership, and we've added some newcomers who are very, very talented. So I think the excitement in the locker room, on the practice field is noticeable, and we still got a ton of work to do, but really like where we're at.
Coach, you got a bit of a reputation over here. You will run the football, and you will take it away. What do you want to add to that rep?
Explosive plays on offense, the down the field plays, hitting some explosives, especially in the pass game, and then negative plays on defense. Sacks, tackle for a loss. Those are the 2 areas we're looking to really get better.
On the offensive side, you brought in some firepower at receiver. You were able to add to already a strong running back room. What have you liked about the offensive side throughout the spring?
Well, I think those 2 things are noticeable. We got more speed at wideout. That's evident in this spring. We still got to continue to develop those guys, and it's going to be real competitive in that room. Number receiver 1 through 6 or 7, it's going to be very, very competitive. And the running back room as well. We haven't had this deep a running back room talent-wise since we've been here. So we got to continue to develop those guys. Is there going to be a number 2? Is it going to be committee? We need more than 1 or 2 running backs to help us win. We know Jaden's a heck of a player, but really excited about both of those units.
It's all about the guys getting better during the spring, and I think they've done that. But how have you guys grown as a coaching staff this spring?
Well, I think, fundamentally, we've made some changes, or I should say philosophically, kind of how we're approaching coaching defense, what we're doing, how much volume we're carrying. We've asked the players to take on some more. And so that's been a lot of fun. We really kind of did a deep dive postseason on things that we need to do defensively, just changing philosophically how we approach this season and these games. Offensively, it's those explosive plays that we're looking for. So getting the ball down the field, creating explosives, and then taking care of it. We did not do a good job last year taking care of the football on offense, and that's got to be a premium.
Justin, appreciate the time. Looking forward to watching your guys get after it today.
All right, thank you guys. Go Bears.
Justin Wilcox, the head coach of the California Golden Bears. As you look at Peter Sermon sporting a Cal baseball jersey over there, the defensive coordinator for Cal. Here's our schedule for the day and what's going to happen. We'll have position workouts, and Michael and I will run through all the position groups and update what's going on, because let's face it, in this era of college football with a transfer portal, guys coming and going, a lot to fill you in on. They'll have a tackling competition. The thing I'm looking forward to, I love the 4th and 1 competition that we're going to see. And the red zone also. Those are 2 areas I'm looking forward to watching.
4th and 1, you pack it in. You know that it's going to be grimy over there. Then in the red zone, it's all about scoring. So situations, that's what you want to see these guys. Put them in situations, see how they react, see if they can take the coaching onto the field.
I love most of the coaches are wearing these Cal baseball jerseys. They had a big win last night against Oregon State, a walk-off homer. Seth Gwynn at the bottom of the 9th against number 5 Oregon State. So, yeah, they're getting in the spirit. It's the spring, right?
Spring. You gotta support all your teams. I was just watching the women's lacrosse team before this game, and they got after it. So no, it's all about unity out here. So it's nice to see these coaches out here showing some love.
The momentum, and you and I talked about it just with Justin Wilcox. Michael, to finish the season the way they did last year, to win those final 3 games, you had to win all 3 if you're going to a bowl game. They did that. Of course, they beat Stanford again, which is important to a lot of people around here.
Yeah.
But then you go down and beat UCLA, and you beat them soundly to go to a bowl game. So for a program that had been hovering a bit, there is Chandler Rogers, one of the new quarterbacks here at Cal, and that's what Cal did to end last season. They had a tough stretch when you look at, you're playing the Beavs at Utah, SC, Oregon, but then they got those last 3 wins. What does that do for a locker room?
It's everything. I mean, you talk about that stretch where you lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row, and you can easily lose a locker room, but it's up to the coaches and the players to kind of rally the troops, and then you knock off 3 wins in a row. It's proof in the pudding. You put in all that work, you watch the film, you train, you do all this stuff. You want to have success on the field, so when you're able to end the season that way, put yourself in a bid for a bowl game, it's all positive vibes.
Does that show you a lot about the character in a locker room for a team to bounce back and pick themselves up to finish strong those final 3 games?
Man, I've been on teams where we started 6-0 and then lost the last 6. And guys can go separate ways real quickly, and that's what happened with that locker room. So for this team to bounce back the way that they did just shows that they believe in their coaches, they believe in each other, and they trust the process. Man, it's so easy to go into a dark place when you lose a few games.
So Mike Blesh taking over as the offensive coordinator. There seems to be some excitement on the offensive side. The offensive linemen certainly love it because their guy has been elevated. It's not his first rodeo as an offensive coordinator and calling plays, but now he'll have his opportunity here to put his stamp on things. He inherited it late, and if you're trying to evaluate him on just one game, you're not looking at it like you should be.
Yeah. It's tough just you can't look at one game and say, okay, that's who they are. This is who they're
just
going
a bowl
to be.
game.
Yeah, in a bowl game. But it's nice to have a guy who was already in-house kind of take over, especially when he's running the offensive line. The big boys make this thing go.
So here are some key offensive returners. Of course, Fernando Mendoza, who started the final 9 games. Jade Knott, the All-Pac-12 running back. Jack Endries established himself. And Tron Grizel, the former walk-on, now on scholarship, was a playmaker. And the offensive line, TJ Session, the right tackle, a couple other key guys that were starters last year. Matthew Wyckoff moves to center. And then Siawape Vatakani, the right guard, is one of the elite physical punishers, I think, up front on the West Coast.
Oh, man, you got to have great guard play, especially when you run an RPO system like we see here. You rely on that guard to help out with the double teams, get to that second level. They're the pacemaker kind of with that offensive line. I mean, everyone's important on that O-line, but the dynamic guys, the guys who can move, they're the right and the left of the center.
Well, since we're talking about the offensive line, but let's stay there because that is Mike Blesh's bread and butter. And we mentioned, okay, Wyckoff, who started as a freshman at center at Texas A&M, the transfer to Cal, and then Vatakani at right guard, Session at right tackle. The question is going to be left tackle. And right now, it appears they're going to go with a freshman. And a redshirt freshman, Nick Morrow, who the coaches are extremely high on. They said he's had a fantastic spring. And look, he's got the experience of going up against guys like Xavier Carlton and David Reese every day in practice. Yes, it's trial by fire, but this is a freshman. They feel that the sky is the limit as far as his potential.
Always nice when you can get a freshman to get everyone excited. He came in as a tight end. They move him over to that tackle spot. Played tight end in high school, move over to that tackle spot. And you're right. There are going to be wins. There are going to be losses. But what he's doing during this whole experience is just doing just that, gaining experience, gaining that confidence and saying, I can play at this level. I'm hearing he might be an NFL type of player.
And that's what they're thinking about him. Plus a couple of guys we didn't mention. Rush Reimer, who is a transfer from Montana State, who's a Division II All-American. He'll fight for some time on the offensive line. So this is a deeper group, and there is Morrow right there. At 6'8", 305, they're hoping that redshirt freshman can really establish himself, as he's from Flagstaff, Arizona, as a left tackle. But we mentioned Reimer. Also, another key guy that could factor into the offensive line is a transfer from Temple. And Victor Stoffel, who is from Stockholm, Sweden, along with Reimer, those two transfers could push that group up front and make it a really good competition.
You're saying a lot of names, and I'm hearing competition, just like you hinted your last sentence there. And that's what you need in a room. That's what you need on a football team. Competition so guys can push each other. Now you have your guys who you know are going to be there when you line up week 1 and play some football. But there's nothing like having a sophomore, a freshman, a junior out there that are competing and just trying to make each other better. So I like that we're talking about multiple guys on that offensive line, because that means there's depth and there's comp.
When you have an offensive line coach that is now the offensive coordinator, does that affect the mentality of your offensive side of the ball?
Oh, it has to. And, you know, when we talk about offensive coordinators, you know, you lean towards the quarterback coach a lot of the time. But I really think it's refreshing once you get an offensive guy, offensive lineman coach in there, because He controls the box. He has the heartbeat of that team. So it was a great move, and it sounds like the offensive linemen are responding beautifully to it.
And it's a group that has a lot more depth, I think, this year. And the competition word is going to be a positive for that offensive line, because the better the competition is, the better the group is going to be. And that, let's face it, as good as your quarterback, whether it's Mendoza, whether it's Rodgers, as good as Jaden Ott is, or the deep running back room, and Justin alluded to the receivers and the tight end position, but that's all inconsequential if your offensive line isn't doing what it should do up front.
The fundamentals of football: protect the quarterback, get the quarterback, right? The big boys on both sides of the football really establish the tone and the pace of a football game. So yeah, man, you have to protect your quarterback, and you got two quarterbacks that are going to battle this thing out, man. So offensive linemen always take pride in that, and I'm sure they got a chip on their shoulder with the OC being in their meeting room.
All right, here's our team period one. And if you look at the blue, that's the offense. Fernando Mendoza's wearing gray because it says don't hit the quarterback.
Don't touch him.
So these are basically the ones going against the ones, at least for today. Now, Jaden Ott is not playing. There's a whole group of players that are being held out just because they're not needed. It's Fernando Mendoza, deep shot, and Tron Grizel with the catch. And he emerged last year as a big play threat. He averaged over 15 yards per catch, had a huge big game where he scored 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving in the first play of the spring game, and a long pass to Grizel from Mendoza.
Well, we just asked Coach, what do you want to see? What do you want to add to your reputation? He says explosive plays. We saw exactly that. Nice play action there. One-on-one matchup on the outside. Mendoza drops a dime.
Javian Thomas at running back. It faked the handoff, and over the middle it's broken up. The pass intended for Tobias Merriweather, the transfer from Notre Dame, who I think will factor in significantly for the Cal offense this year.
Good defense right there. You got Merriweather running a slant. What you got to do as a DB, get your left hand on that hip, punch with the right. Great technique. Again, pass break us, what, 70 of those things last year, Roxy?
And Colin Gamble, who is going to factor into the secondary for Cal with that play. And a number of the key players on the back end defensively for Cal you will not see today. Craig Woodson's not going to play. Lamagia Hearns, Noel Williams, Kalen Moore, Marcus Harris, who's had a great spring, the transfer from Idaho, and the coaches are ecstatic about what he's done this spring. Unfortunately, those guys will not play, so you won't see him as Javian Thomas, the Jet, takes the handoff, and he's swallowed up by the front of the Cal defense, led by Ricky Correa.
Nice tackle there by this Cal defense. Really just a zone look. Center gets beat. 91, big boy wraps him up. He cleaned up by a linebacker there.
That's a true freshman. Aaron Hampton was number 46 in white with Correa on the stop. And this is a third down play for Fernando Mendoza. And the RPO is a handoff, and Javian Thomas down to the 10-yard line. So a pickup of 5 before it's 4th down, and we'll see. Look, again, this is the spring. We'll see what they decide to do. But Javian Thomas, the sophomore to be from Oakland, and he had that scary situation last year in the game at Oregon when he had to leave in an ambulance. Luckily, spent the night in the hospital in Eugene, but everything checked out okay, and they love the burst that he's got. He will factor in behind. Look, Jaden Ott's the clear number 1, but there is strong competition as Mendoza's pass complete to Jeffrey Johnson right near the marker. But there's going to be stiff competition to see who's the number 2 behind Jaden Ott.
Yeah, it can go a lot of ways, right? We talk about Javian Thomas. We talk about Justin Williams. We got Brian Caldwell. It's a nice problem to have when you don't know who your number 2 is going to be. Ott is the man. Everyone knows that, but who's going to be his right hand?
So the defense got to stop. They're marking it just short. So the offense stalls inside the 10-yard line. And Jaden Ott, here's what he's done in his career. Last year ran for 1,362 yards. 12 touchdowns for the all Pac-12 performer, and he's established himself as one of the best running backs in college football.
Oh, by far. I think whether you're on the West Coast, down south, or east, when you're looking at running backs, his name has to be at the top of your list with some other guys there. But explosive plays, we talk about explosive plays. He's had a lot of those on the ground, and because he can do that, he's going to naturally open up the pass game for these guys.
There he is. He's not playing today just because he doesn't need to play.
Nothing to prove.
Justin Williams-Thomas goes in motion, and Chandler Rogers pass out in the flat to Williams-Thomas, takes a big hit, and he keeps driving forward. Jair Smith, the JC transfer, defensive back, number 6 in white, who came from the College of San Mateo across the bay with the tackle and a short pickup to Williams-Thomas. And there is Jaden Ott, and you mentioned Byron Cardwell. We saw Williams-Thomas. Javian Thomas on the first series. Kadarius Caldwell is another one. The transfer from Old Dominion, who began his college career at Alabama, will also factor in to the Cal running game. As driving the pile forward is Justin Williams-Thomas. And Williams-Thomas, who was slowed by an injury at the start of last year, came on toward the end of the year, the Tennessee transfer. And it's a third down upcoming, but that is a deep running back room that Justin Wilcox and Mike Blesh have at their disposal.
Hey, and you need a lot of running backs, right? Your running back is one of the hardest positions to play because you are going to get hit. And what I like about this room is that there are different types of running backs as well. They're not all the same type of running back. You got some variety in that room.
So here's Chandler Rogers, has some speed. Again, the quarterback, you're not hitting him today. Luke Farrelly, a true freshman from Carlsbad, was in the area. We'll get credit for that stop. But Rogers provides a different dimension for Cal. Mendoza's an athletic quarterback, and he can make plays, but Chandler Rogers has elite athleticism.
Yeah, it's all about extending plays, right? Can you make something out of nothing? That's what Rogers does. Mendoza can do it too. He does it in his own way, but Rogers showing some speed there.
Cole Basha, the Colorado transfer, was thrown down after the catch, and here are the numbers and the well-traveled Chandler Rogers, who began his college career at Southern Miss, then went to Blinn Junior College, a couple of years at Louisiana Monroe, then North Texas, and last year 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, threw for nearly 3,400 yards. He also ran for 4 touchdowns, and Rogers last year was second in the American Conference in passing yards.
Yeah, I listened to him speak the other day, and he says, look, football is football. The terminology might be different here. I've had a couple of stops, but the concepts are the same. I feel comfortable. I feel like I know what I'm doing. That's a great sign. We talked to Wilcox, and he says, look, we gave these guys a lot to start this spring. The install was crazy, and you think it was crazy for a position like an O-line or receiver. That man has to know everyone's job. So the fact that he feels comfortable, he's already making plays, is a good sign.
And look, I talked to Chandler Rogers on Thursday, and I asked him, you're coming to a place that has a starting quarterback. A lot of guys who have 1 year left are looking to go specifically to a place where, you know what, I want to go play. There's the opportunity to play there. And that's not necessarily going to happen here. It's a competition.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I want to compete. I want to get pressed. I want to battle for a job. And he knows coming in here that Fernando Mendoza started the final 9 games of last year, but has the connections, whether it's with Mike Blesh, a lot of the Texas guys on this Cal roster. He's very friendly with Craig Woodson. And he said, look, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to battle. I want to play. I know Fernando's going to play, and I'm going to do my job and see what happens. And it's refreshing to hear that, because in this day and age, Bump, as you know, guys are looking for the easy way out a lot of times where, okay, they don't have a quarterback. I'm going there because I know I'm going to play. And when you push each other, it's going to make you better.
Yeah, it is. And listen, there's nothing wrong with setting yourself up for success. Being a quarterback and saying, okay, I'm going to go join that team because there isn't a quarterback. But it says something about your character when you're willing to go to a place where they have a quarterback and compete for your job. I think that's going to happen less and less, Roxy.
Kadarius Callaway brought down by Miles Williams. That's the first carry for Callaway, the senior to be from Philadelphia, Mississippi. He got 7 yards there. And Kadarius Callaway is an intriguing prospect coming into Cal. As Fernando Mendoza to the outside, that's Marquez Dortch with the catch, a transfer from Mississippi State. But Callaway, who originally enrolled at Alabama, was a 4-star recruit out of high school. Then ended up at Old Dominion. And last year he led the Sun Belt in average yards per carry, over 7 yards a carry for Callaway, who had a huge game against Marshall. And he tried to take the starch out of We Are Marshall because he ran for 236 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 11 carries in that game. And again, we all know Jaden Ott's going to be the guy, but the battle to be the #2 running back is going to be really interesting to watch here.
There's nothing like seeing Ott trot off the field, and you know whoever replaces him is capable of keeping the offense moving as if he was already there. I think that's what you're going to have. Whoever is the number 2 running back, a guy who can just step in, do what they have to do. Beautiful counter look right there by Callaway, making moves. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
How about that jump cut that Callaway just made, and that he made that look easy.
Hey, young, 20, 21 years old, 22. I wish.
So this is the #1 offense against today's #1 defense. I need to put, quotes around it. As Mendoza taking a deep shot. Tron Grizzell trying to come back for it, and Colin Gamble breaks it up.
Good breakup right there. Grizzell, it was underthrown right there. If I'm a receivers coach, I'm yelling at him, just go back to the football. This is easy pass interference for us receivers. But again, you tip your cap to Gamble and say, way to be in position and make a play. Even if it is with your helmet, still counts as a breakup.
All right, we've covered the offensive line, the quarterbacks, the running backs. Let's talk about your specialty now. The guys on the outside, the receivers. And it's a deeper, faster receiver room for Burl Toller, Cal's wide receiver coach. That's Mikey Matthews, the transfer from Utah, who had a solid freshman year for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes last season. And Matthews, the sophomore, the Southern California native from Irvine, in that deep group. We mentioned Tobias Merriweather. We saw Marquez Dortch make a catch. Cole Basha transferred in from Colorado. Maven Anderson is still here. Tron Grizzell now on scholarship. And another guy to keep an eye on, Jonathan Brady, transfer from New Mexico State. He's a real speedster. And Josiah Martin, who's a true freshman who enrolled in January, is another guy that just keeps making plays throughout the spring. And they feel when you see number 17 out there in blue today, he's going to have an opportunity to make plays in the fall. That is a deep group.
That's a name that keeps popping up. We're talking about Josiah Martin. Listen to his coach talk about him. He goes, hey, he watches film just as much as I watch film. We come in to break down practice. He's already watched it 2 or 3 times, and then he watches it again. He's committed to the process, and I think that's great when you get that type of commitment out of a freshman. But you talk about this receiver room, young man Tobias Merriweather out of Washington, or where I'm from. To Notre Dame, 12 catches had over there. Didn't have the type of production that he wanted, but college football now is all about second chances and maybe even third chances. This room is deep. You got some transfers. You got some young guys. Great mix of talent.
Yeah, Merriweather from Camas, Washington, was an ESPN top 300 recruit out of high school. Went to Notre Dame for a couple of years. That is Josiah Martin on the end around, the freshman from Texas. But Merriweather was a high school track champ and had production at Notre Dame, but wanted to get back out west. He's happy to be on the West Coast, and he's ecstatic to be here in Berkeley and loves what he sees with this Cal offense.
Yeah, he's a guy who can really stretch a defense. Those safeties have to know where number 5 is at all time. You talk about his track accolades. I watched this young man run. It's so smooth. Once he opens up that stride, man, it looks like he's barely even trying. So, again, add another dynamic to the game. Cal has always been able to throw the football down the field. You rely on the run to get things going. But the more you can help out on the outside, the better. I expect Martin to do that. I expect Merriweather to do that too.
Byron Cardwell, who's battled some injuries with the carry. There is Tobias Merriweather, a 6'5" receiver. And it's 3rd and short now. This is the number 2 offense for today. Again, for today. Don't read anything into Chandler Rogers. He's just with this group today. Underneath, that's Cole Basha with a second catch. And Basha got some playing time, played in 5 games last year in Boulder for Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and the Buffs. And he's a Danville native coming back to the Bay Area and transferring to Cal for an opportunity here as Chandler Rogers will keep. And again, when the quarterback keeps it today, it's inconsequential because you can't touch him.
Man, I used to hate that in spring ball. Granted, I was on the offensive side, but our quarterbacks start running. They're running their mouths. I go, man, relax out there. We can get hit. You're sitting back there with a different color jersey on. No one's touching you. But again, we see how they're implementing the reads into this offense. Just for a guy like Rodgers, let you know what he's capable of.
Look, we rattled off about 8 or 9 names, bump at receiver. When you get to the fall, realistically, how many guys do you think Mike Blesh can have in the mix? It's a nice adjustment and catch by Maven Anderson. And he dealt with some injuries last season at 8 catches, but this is a great job on adjusting in the air.
Yeah, nice back shoulder throw. The DB is on top of the receiver. Rogers doing a great job of sitting him down, putting it in a place where only he can get it.
Chandler Rogers escapes the pocket, and he just chucks it away. Will live for another down. But realistically, how many guys can you have in the mix as far as receivers go?
Maybe 5, 6. I mean, when you go out there in 10 personnel, you'll have 4 receivers out there, but you're going to rely on your top 3 to really have a lot of production, and then sprinkle in everybody else. So I'd say 5, 6 at the most, but it could be a revolving door. Sometimes you have a good week, you get some playing time. The next week, the next guy has a good week, gets some playing time again. A word we've said a lot today, competition. And
specific packages also could factor in, as this is Byron Cardwell again on the carry. And picks up a couple and runs into a gang of defenders led by Murphy Glasgow, the redshirt freshman from Manhattan Beach. And linebacker group which is missing David Reese today, Xavier Carlton. They're not hurt, they're just not playing. Cade Ulawave, who really burst onto the scene as one of the top freshmen in college football last year. And the linebacker room is going to be deep as well. A couple of key guys that are not here just yet. As Chandler Rogers looking for the end zone, and it's incomplete. Looking for Marquez Dortch, Mays Bryant in coverage. And we'll hit the defense. We'll get into position by position. But it's a little bit thinner on the defensive side today just because they're holding some guys out.
Yeah, it's spring ball. Roles are established for the most part. There are some guys who have nothing to prove, so you let the younger guys go out there and have an opportunity to put stuff on film. That's how you get real evaluation there.
So now we're jumping into a special teams period, and this will be punting. And Lachlan Wilson is back. He was second team all Pac-12 last year. One of the elite punters, I think, in college football. The Aussie. Seems like most punters are from Australia now. But he averaged 44.5 yards a kick last year. And Wilson getting some opportunities here for the spring, as we're joined by the offensive coordinator of the California Golden Bears, Mike Blesh, from down on the field. Mike, thanks again for your time. And Michael and I have been talking about the adjustment that you've had to make, and you got to make it toward the end of last year. It's not your first rodeo, but how's it going so far, taking over here in your first spring as Cal's offensive coordinator?
It's been great. I'm having a ton of fun. We have an unbelievable staff. Love working for Coach Justin Wilcox. We've really, you know, the guys have bought into, you know, just the workman mentality that, you know, I'm trying to get these guys to understand it. To get to where we want to get, we have to really step up our consistency in our day in and day out preparation so that we can perform better on Saturdays.
Coach, you have one of the best jobs in the world, an offensive coordinator at a D1 school, but it's also tough, man. You got a quarterback challenge going on, a competition going on right now. How transparent are you with where they stand after each practice?
Yeah, I mean, we talk to those guys daily. They know that every rep they take is being evaluated. They're very super competitive guys, both of them. They're very humble guys. And, you know, I've been very proud with just the growth that they've both had this spring. So I like where we're at moving forward. I think this competition is making them both better, and at the end of the day, that's what we want at every position. When we're bringing in players out of the transfer portal, we're trying to create competition at every position.
Do you feel, Mike, that you have that type of competition at every spot right now on offense?
I feel like we're getting close. You know, with the receivers that we brought in, there's a ton of competition in that room. You know, the running back room is as deep as it's been since I've been here. O-line, we're looking to still add a couple guys. You know, we have 4 guys that are really played a lot of football coming back. So we're getting to the point where there's some legit competition and some legit guys that can play in the 2 deep.
Coach, I heard you say there is a pass attached to every run. So I would assume that your quarterbacks has to identify the box, where you're running, who you're picking on. How have they stepped up to that challenge so far?
They've done a great job. You know, the run game, RPO stuff, a lot of the stuff that we implemented last year when I got here is familiar to them. Obviously, Fernando in particular, because he played in the offense, the run RPO stuff last year. But they're handling that stuff well, and Coach Gilbert, our new quarterback coach, has done a great job of really helping those guys understand not only who the conflict player is, but understanding, you know, if we're running the ball to the boundary and they're bringing an extra fitter from the field, we still have numbers that are conducive to us making yards to the boundary.
Mike, appreciate the time. Thanks for everything this week, and look forward to watching you guys get after it in the fall.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Mike Blesh, Cal's new. I guess he's still kind of new, the offensive coordinator, even though he's been here at Cal. More from the Cal Spring Showcase in Berkeley. Well, the Cal Bears, we talked about the end of the 2023 season. They finished strong. They started the year 3-2, but then ran into that gauntlet. And as tough a stretch as anybody had to face, I think, in college football, but then came out of it, won the final 3, including that picture from the Rose Bowl where Cal clinched a bowl bid for the first time since 2019 and getting to play Texas Tech in the Independence Bowl, and really was a significant step to get Cal football back in the postseason and for Justin Wilcox and his program to really elevate back to where they feel they should be.
Yeah, for a lot of guys, that was their first bowl game. And with all the movement that's happening in college football, it's important to be relevant every single year. Great start in 2023.
So this is the 4th-and-1 competition. It started at the 41-yard line. And there's the Jet, Javian Thomas. He gets across the goal line. He is in for a touchdown. And that was an interesting spike by the sophomore from Oakland. But so this competition now, they're going to spot the ball at the 41. That was the first offense against the first defense. And you saw the push right there, and sealing it was TJ Session on the edge, and Fernando Mendoza trying to help drag, which is legal now, Javian Thomas into the end zone. So here's the twos going at it, and they'll start at the 41 on the plus 41. And in this competition, it's a 4th-and-1, and if you get the first down, you move it to the next, to the 31. And then you keep going to the 21, the 11, then 1st and goal, or rather 4th and goal at the 1. And that's the key of this drive. But at any point, the defense gets a stop on 4th-and-1. It's over. The defense wins the drive. And just like that, the defense won this. Stanley Saole McKenzie, the junior from Honolulu, with the tackle on Justin Williams-Thomas behind the line. And before it even really began, the number 2s get stopped.
This is what I love about this situation, is because everyone knows you're going to run the football, and the bigs, this is where they get to shine right there. So when you get in that backfield, you wrap that running back up. That's a big play. In a real game, a real situation, that is a momentum shifter. You can change the identity of a game when a team decides to go for it on 4th-and-1, and bam, you shut them down.
They got help from Aaron Hampton, the early enrollee freshman from Anchorage, who's been getting a lot of reps this spring, along with Hunter Barth at the inside linebacker position. As Kate Ulawave not playing today, who is going to be one of the starters. And since we're talking linebackers, let's stay with that group, because it's really interesting. And the 2s are getting another run of it here. And that is Kadarius Callaway, and he didn't get it. Another stop for the defense. And there is Aaron Hampton one more time, as they were able to corral Kadarius Callaway, and the defense wins 2 straight plays.
This one right here, you just got to thank your big boys up front. Those D tackles at 1-tech, 3-tech are just taking up space, allowing your linebackers to get downhill, shoot the gap, and make plays just like that.
And maybe the corner, Day Alpiu, was cheating a little bit coming in. Another early enrollee, a freshman from Oxnard. But Hampton, an interesting story, coming to Cal from Alaska, and the early enrollee. But the linebacker group, so Hampton making the start today, along with Barth at the inside. And on the outside, Ryan McCullough starting. B.J. Canada, another early enrollee, a true freshman from Topeka, Kansas. It's because David Reese, Xavier Carlton, being held out on the outside. 2 veteran players who really finished the season strong. Outstanding pass rushers off the edge at Peter Sermon's disposal. Ulawave. And we'll finish the conversation coming up about the linebackers as we are going to a halftime for the Cal Spring Showcase. We'll get to the defense and finish the linebacker conversation next. Gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Berkeley, but pretty much every Saturday afternoon in Berkeley is gorgeous. But today especially, this Cal Spring Showcase. The numbers last year as Fernando Mendoza started the final 9 games at quarterback for Cal and engineered the Bulls' bid for the Golden Bears, finishing the season strong. as the freshman really responded toward the end of the year. And along with Michael Bumpus, Roxy Bernstein with you from Memorial Stadium. And with us now is Fernando Mendoza joining us. And you look bigger, Fernando. How much weight have you put on?
So last season, the end of the season, I was probably around 210, and now I'm 225. So it's a credit to the strength staff and all the coaches that really helped me put me on a great nutritional plan and a great offseason plan.
I remember my freshman year, man. Things happened pretty quickly, and then you get into that second spring, and you figure out your schedule. Things slowed down. How were things different for you this time around?
As you said, it's a second spring. It's a little different situation for me in the quarterback room this spring around, but having the experience of being in Berkeley, having a great support staff with Coach Wilcox, all the staff, and all my supportive teammates, it's been a lot slower, especially. Oh, there you go. Nice catch. It's slowed down for me a lot, the game and off the field. So it's been a pleasure.
Your confidence level, Fernando, going into the offseason with the way you're able to finish the season, to beat Washington State, then to win the big game and play well there and against UCLA. How much did that help you, propel you, your optimism in the offseason, your confidence?
Confidence is a huge thing. I mean, especially when confidence meets preparation, I mean, you're ready for every opportunity. So going into the offseason, I had the confidence to see what I was able to do. And so it really gave me a lot of confidence to elevate my work ethic and my work with my teammates.
You know, with the way college football is changing, the rosters are going to change a bit. And in your receiver room, you got some new weapons out there. What do you think about this room, and how excited are you to toss some touchdowns to them?
Oh, I am exhilarated. I mean, I could name all the receivers right now. We have Tobias, Mikey, Isaac, Brady. I mean, we just have so many different. Cole Basha. We have so many different new weapons, especially with the ones that came back last year, like Tron, Jack, Maven Anderson, and Jordan King and Jamin Plummer. So those are all names. I know, and Mojo. I know I missed a couple, and then also Josiah Trader, freshman. So with all those new weapons, our offense is going to be more explosive than ever, and I'm really excited to get them to rock.
Now that Mike Blesh has had a whole spring, what's different about the offense now for you?
So myself and some other coaches and players, we joke around and call Coach Blesh the doc, or the doctor, because he dials up the run game and RPO game to a T. And then we also brought in Coach Gilbert, for our pass game, and that's also been phenomenal. I've learned a lot of great new concepts as he was Ole Miss next year, and it's great to learn from his experience, especially improving my footwork and my timing.
Now, a lot of guys on the outside get the love, the receivers, right? You toss them the rock, but you would be nothing without the big boys in front of you, man. What are you seeing out of that group?
Correct. I mean, all of them, especially right here with Nick Morrow, Seal Wape, TJ, Matt Wyckoff, and Bashan, and all the other linemen. I mean, they do all the dirty work. They don't get enough love, and I love those guys. So I'm really happy that a lot of them came back, and we have some new ones. So it's always good, that group. I mean, the quarterback and the O-line group needs to be super meshed and super well friendly, and so we're all really tight. I'm really excited about that.
Fernando, appreciate the time as always, and you can't come to Berkeley and not have a Fernando Mendoza burrito from La Burrito.
Yes, go get the burrito and support MS.
Yes, we will. Fernando, appreciate the time again. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fernando.
Yes, as you heard, we got the plug in there for the Fernando Mendoza burrito, and he is very active in that charity, helping raise money for MS, as his mom Elsa battles MS, and some of the proceeds from the Fernando Mendoza burrito at La Burrita go to MS and try to help find a cure for that disease, and what a effort that Fernando Mendoza has made, and it's certainly near and dear to his heart because of his mom.
Yeah, you know, I have a buddy who has MS, actually played in the NFL, so I have a direct connection to it as well. So I will be supporting and getting myself a burrito as well, Roxy.
Okay, so we're doing some drills now. We did the 4th and 1 competition. This is some combat drills that are going on right now. We started talking about the linebackers, Michael, and again, today, no Carlton, no Reese, no Uluwave. We're getting a look at some of the younger guys that could factor in. But also, there's 2 key players that are not here today. Well, one of them is here, but he can't play. And that is Teddy Buchanan, who came to Cal from UC Davis. And he's an interesting story. So Teddy Buchanan who had a great career at UC Davis and is a Division II All-American transferring in. He will be here for the summer. He needs to graduate, and then he'll be a grad transfer from Davis coming down to Berkeley. And oddly enough, Cal will play Davis in the fall. But Teddy Buchanan has made the effort, gets up every morning at about 3:30 to drive down from Davis to Berkeley throughout the spring to make sure he's here for every practice. He's an observer. He can't practice, he can't be on the field participating, but he's made the effort to observe every practice, come down here, soak up as much information as he can, watching, whether it's talking to Peter Sermon, some of the guys, familiarizing himself. And the effort that Teddy Buchanan is making is incredible.
It's all about showing your team that you're with them, right? You are committed to the process, even if you can't physically be a part of that process. I think that's great. And then the mental reps, man. Whether you're hurt or not getting reps or can't participate, you can still be mentally involved with what's going on and understand the scheme, the language, and your responsibilities. He's doing everything he can to be involved without actually being out there.
How much will that help him when he arrives, that he has that familiarity? Even though he hasn't been on the field, hasn't taken any reps with these guys, the mental reps which you talk about, but just soaking up the information.
It's so important. I mean, all these guys can play football or they wouldn't even be considered to be on this football team. But when you are in the box and you're playing that linebacker position, visually you have to be on point. You have to have gap integrity. You have to be able to communicate with your defensive lineman. So the fact that he's already out there putting himself through this mentally gives him kind of an advantage. So when he gets out there and it gets real, it's a bit slower than it would be if he wasn't out there.
So Teddy Buchanan will show up after he graduates from UC Davis, and Cal firmly expects him to have an impact on this defense next season. Also, Liam Johnson is an interesting guy who will be here again once he graduates from Princeton, as he was second on the Princeton Tigers in tackles last year. Will provide some depth at that linebacker position. And they like some of the young talent that they have. We've seen Aaron Hampton today. Ryan McCullough played a lot last year. Another key freshman who's an early enrollee that could factor in is right there, 53 in white, walking across the screen. Eze Osandu from Trophy Club Texas, who is ranked among the top 50, 60 inside linebackers, prospects coming into college football. But it's a group that is interesting, that there's a lot of experience on the first team, Michael. Not much that we know of behind that, but that's Peter Sermon's bread and butter. We talked about the offensive line for Mike Blesh, the new OC. Well, Peter Sermon's a linebacker.
Yeah, it's all about having the right mix of experience and then that newness as well. It's almost like a breath of fresh air sometimes when you get these young guys in, because as a coach, it forces you to go back and maybe teach some things that you don't have to with those older guys, and it makes those older guys be mentors to those younger guys, and it brings everybody together.
So coming up, we'll get a look at some red zone competition as we continue from Memorial Stadium on Pac-12 Network.
Hi, I'm Miles Williams.
I'm Jack Andrews.
And I'm Fernando Mendoza.
We're excited to announce that for the second year in collaboration with Special Olympics, Northern California, and Exceptional Sports, the Golden Buddies Football Clinic is back.
The Golden Buddies Football Clinic was created by Cal football players Matthew Cindric and created by Miles Williams in 2023. And Jack and I are excited to be a part of this year's event.
As this year's leaders of the Golden Buddies Football Clinic, we believe that football should be for everyone regardless of ability.
Join us and our teammates on May 4th at California Memorial Stadium for a unique experience where kids of all abilities will come together to experience the thrill of the game through fun football drills, connect with Cal football players through fun, and make lasting memories.
The Golden Buddies Football Clinic offers free admission for youth of all abilities ages 6 to 13, as well as fun giveaways, including a Golden Buddies t-shirt toss.
What does it mean to be a Golden Buddy, you ask?
Being a Golden Buddy means joining a community where inclusivity, teamwork, and passion for the game of football shine bright.
It's about embracing diversity and celebrating the unique abilities of every player, regardless of the background or experience.
Golden Buddies treat all their buddies with kindness.
Our good teammates
are the best cheer buddies
and always give all they do a golden effort.
As you can see, being a Golden Buddy is more than just football. It's about building lasting friendships, supporting your teammates, and embodying the values of sportsmanship both on and off the field.
Together, we strive for excellence, lift each other up, and create memories that will last a lifetime. Join us and discover what it truly means to be a Golden Buddy.
So practice your best bear growl, round up your teammates, and get ready to score big at the Golden Buddies Football Clinic on May 4th. Sign up today by visiting the link in our bio.
Go Bears!
So Jack Andrews, a part of the Golden Buddies, which is coming up here at Memorial Stadium, which is a great effort by the Cal team to bring kids in from the community. And there are the numbers for Jack Andrews, who really, as the season went along last year at tight end, established himself and became more of a weapon and a threat, and he had that connection with Fernando Mendoza last year.
I love me some tight end play, Roxy. I mean, they just bring it all together. They get dirty with the old line. You can motion them outside with the receivers. So big ups to Andrews and his involvement in that program.
So some more goal line and red zone drills, and that is Tobias Merriweather, the touchdown catch from Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Notre Dame.
It's always nice where you can get a one-on-one matchup with a 6'5" receiver and just toss it up to him and have him make a play. Nice little safety blanket out there. I know a lot of offensive coordinators who don't like to throw it up and they want to run some meshes or whatnot, but if you see a matchup, you take the matchup. That's what we saw there.
That was against Marcus Scott II, the Missouri transfer, who's had a good spring as well at corner. And he was trying to sell that. Come on, it was out of bounds, but Merriweather was in. And so we went through the linebackers. And let's talk some secondary here for Cal, because when you talk to Peter Sermon and Justin Wilcox, look, they feel good about their linebackers. But defensively, I think they're so excited about the back end and the talent and the depth that they have across the board in the secondary.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys they're excited about we're not going to see because they're ready to go, right? We got Woodson, who's not playing today. We got Harris as well, more. But in this day and age, the way the game is being played, you have to be solid on the back end. You got to be solid everywhere, but if you can eliminate one side of the field or just make a quarterback second guess himself with coverage, that's going to be a huge advantage. So it's nice that they feel so confident about that back end.
We talked about the numbers earlier, the takeaways, the pass breakups from the back end of the Cal defense. And again, Lamaje Hearns not playing. Kalen Moore not playing today. Noel Williams, Marcus Harris. They're all, Craig Woodson, all being held out. But it goes to show you the depth, because Colin Gamble's out there, Miles Williams, who could factor in as a starting safety, Marcus Scott, the Missouri transfer, Matthew Littlejohn, who had some success in the nickel position last year. And that is a group that you look at it, that's an impressive back end of the Cal defense. And when you've got the pass rush ability of Xavier Carlton, David Reese, and the push they can get up front, it's going to make those guys even better on the back end.
It's all connected. I mean, a great secondary is typically paired up with an aggressive box, guys who can put pressure on the quarterback and force him to make some throws. And so far today, Gamble stood out. He has at least 2 or 3 pass breakups so far. So he's taking advantage of an opportunity. But you're right, man. The first line of defense is in the box. Secondary is clean everything else up.
And they ripped that one away as Mays Bryant pulls it away from Marquez Dortch, who bobbled it. And that is another takeaway for the Cal defense. And the turnover story from a year ago, the problem was giving the football away, but look at the takeaways, tied for most in the country.
This is why you keep playing football. The ball is thrown, you rally, and sometimes you get lucky, right place, right time, or sometimes you just take it in your own hands and say, give me the rock and get busy with it. So again, on defense, you have to be aggressive. Cal's done that the last couple of years. No surprise that they're doing it today.
So some of the guys on that in the secondary, the known commodities. Craig Woodson's been around Cal for a while. Lamaje Hearns, a local kid from De La Salle. Noel Williams established himself as one of the top, I think, cover guys in the Pac-12. The transfer from UNLV. But the one guy that's intriguing to me for Cal is Marcus Harris. He began his college careers from Portland, went to Oregon State, and he transferred to Cal from Idaho. Not playing today. He had a great spring. And he's got a lot of the physical tools you love to see when you're looking at the Cal corners. And right now you're probably looking at Noel Williams at one corner, then a battle between Harris and Lamaje Hearns on the other side.
Yeah, and again, battle was good, right? And there's a couple of ways you can look at this transfer portal and guys bouncing around. You can be bitter about it and say, hey, you know, stick it out and learn something. Or you can say, these guys have been tested. They fought through adversity and now they're here. So you have to take advantage of the transfer portal. You talk about Marcus Harris coming from Idaho. You got Liam Johnson over there from Princeton. You got Teddy, the young man who's making an hour drive in the morning to get to practice here as well. That's all about being committed. So you can look at the portal as a positive thing as well. You kind of have to, because it's going nowhere, and Cal should take advantage of that.
So the top two guys have gone through this spring. Aiden Kiana-Ina, the transfer from Notre Dame, who could factor into the rotation on the defensive side. A big physical run plugger at 6'3", 320. Played 6 games last year for the Fighting Irish, the Colorado native. But there is Marcus Harris. You just saw him and had a great run at Idaho. And speaking of runs, a touchdown for Dean Taylor Chapman, the redshirt freshman from San Leandro. But there's a look at Harris, and you see this length, which is what you love to see from a cornerback.
When you got those long arms, there's a couple things you can do. You can attack the football out the air. You can also get hands on a receiver off the line of scrimmage and make him adjust. So yeah, he has the body type, 5'11", 190. The kid can play. He's got some confidence. I love what he did last year.
And the one group that we haven't really talked about other than the special teams is the defensive line. We reference Aiden Kiana-Ina. And I think, Marcus, with this group up front, Bump, that when you look at, they have depth. They have guys, Michael, on the defensive side. The problem is it's been an injury-riddled position for a couple of years now, and I think that still, even though you feel good about it right now, Bump, that has to be a concern for the Cal coaching staff, considering the injuries that group has dealt with for the last couple of years.
And it's just something you just can't control. You cross your fingers and hope that these guys get through the season, but that's why it's so important to always have guys developing, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you get hurt in football. If you play long enough, I don't care, if you play one season, you're going to get banged up. So yeah, it's a concern, but it's not something that they can sit there and stress about. How do you prepare for that? You make sure guys are ready to go. You get them reps in games like this.
So Curly Thomas not playing today among those defensive linemen. Nate Burrell is not playing today. Derek Wilkins, Zurich Ashford, those are 4 guys as Aaron Hampton runs down Josiah Martin there near the sideline. But some of the guys that are playing today, we saw Saole McKenzie make a big play earlier here on the spring showcase. Ricky Correa has been active. Ethan Saunders has played a lot of football for Cal. Was limited last year to just 2 games because of injuries. Akili Calhoun has battled some injuries in his Cal career. Redshirt freshman Tiumalu Afalava. Cal's excited for potentially what he could bring. So there are numbers right now, but again, and I don't think that they're done as far as bringing depth in. Just getting a sense and talking to Justin Wilcox and to Peter Sermon that they're going to enter some portal combat here, I think, to try to bring in some more depth on the defensive line.
I don't know if you just made that up, but it's the first time I heard that. Portal combat. I like that, Roxy. I like that. But everybody's got to get in the portal combat. That's just the way things are. And, you know, again, you can't sit there and worry about what is. What if this guy get hurt? What if that guy get hurt? What do? You do into the portal. You see who's out there. You see if you can get some veterans, see if you can get some young guys, and just keep guys, keep preparing them for these situations. So that's why it's important that we see the red zone situation. Guys are getting reps there. We see the 4th and 1 situation. You see 3rd and long as well. So
give yourself options.
Options.
We continue on Pac-12 Network, the Cal Spring Football Showcase on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Some competition drills going on as we continue with the Cal Spring Showcase from Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, along with Michael Bumpus, Roxy Bernstein with you, and joined by one of the newcomers, Chandler Rogers, transferring into Cal. Had great numbers and a great season with North Texas last year, was 2nd in the American Conference in passing. And Chandler, thanks for the time. How has this been, the adjustment? I know you've been through this before, going to a new school, but what's it been like fitting in at Cal?
Fitting at Cal has been really great. You know, the teammates here and the coaching staff and the support staff as well have really welcomed me with welcome arms, and it's really a family here.
You know, Roxy mentioned you had a couple of stops, man. What have you learned on your journey to Cal, and how did you ultimately end up here?
Along my journey to here, Cal, the one thing I really learned was hard work works. No matter what, as long as you work hard, you're dedicated, you put the time in, do the right thing. When somebody's watching or whether nobody is watching at all, that the good things will come to you. And getting here to Cal, you know, it's kind of been a roller coaster because I almost came here last year as well, but I feel like now is the perfect time, and it was just meant to be.
All right, the factors this time around for you, Chandler. What sold you that Cal was the right place for you this time?
This time, you know, just knowing the situation I would walk into as far as the offensive game plan with Coach Blesh. I know my capabilities. I know his offensive scheme. And I also know that they had a really good defense. And just watching games last year, catching it because, you know, the Pac-12 never would be the last game on, just watching them like, you know, they're really good. And just knowing my capabilities and adding pieces that we brought in, the sky's the limit for us.
So Chandler Rogers, big fan of Pac-12 After Dark, I guess.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Hey, well, I appreciate you watching, Chandler, man. We appreciate that, man. Again, you know, you being a leader, I would assume you played the quarterback position most of your life,
right.
Coming up. What's your style of leadership? We've seen a lot of different styles at the QB spot. How would you describe yours?
Mine, it's kind of funny you said. My strength coach last year said I remind him of Jalen Hurts, just doing everything right, no matter. I set the example, but I also speak up when things are needed to be said, so I'm not scared to be vocal at all.
I asked you this the other day because you opened the season last year against Cal playing for North Texas, and I asked you if you caught yourself watching Jaden Ott, and a lot of quarterbacks are so into what they're doing, right? And they're busy preparing themselves for the next series, trying to recap the series that they had. But you told me you were catching glimpses of Jaden Ott during the course of that game. So now having a spring to play with him, Chandler, what have you seen from Jaden Ott? And is there anything that stands out to you this spring that you didn't see even last fall?
I definitely see his determination, his work ethic, and always putting extra work, whether it's for, you know, his skills as far as running back drills, as well as just taking care of his body. You know, we'll get in here 5:30, 5 a.m., and he's already stretching, preparing for practice as well as workout. So he truly has the determination to get to the next level, and he's already preparing like one.
Me being a receiver, I was a slot receiver, Chandler, so my favorite route was the option route. I love getting the mismatch and mixing somebody up. What's your favorite route to throw?
My favorite route to throw is a deep post. You know, just let it ride.
Who are some of the guys on this team, Chandler, that influenced you to come here?
Definitely Jaden. You know, Jaden, he's definitely somebody who helps recruit people here. He was a pivotal part of it, especially just playing alongside of him as well. On the team, other than Jaden, would be Craig Woodson, Miles Williams. You know, I've known those guys since, growing up with them back in Dallas, Texas. And a couple of offensive linemen as well. You know, I came up here looking for my apartment, and I met TJ for the first time. He's like, man, I can't wait to block for you. So, you know, it was welcoming arms from the jump.
Man, how's the fam doing with you being all the way on the West Coast, man? You're from Texas. Have they been up, and how do you like it out here?
Oh, yeah, they come here from every time period. I believe it's like every 4 to 6 weeks they'll come out here. So they're here right now as well. So, you know, at first it's definitely an adjustment, but, you know, for them it's a vacation, so they're enjoying that.
Like the weather a little bit better out here, too?
Oh, yeah, the weather's great.
Chandler, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Love watching you today, and look forward to watching you in the fall.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Chandler Rogers, the new quarterback here at Cal, who's in a battle with Fernando Mendoza, and those two complement each other pretty well, and they work well in unison. And, look, a lot of times, Bump, you get in these battles, and there could be some selfishness in terms of they want to make sure that I get the job. But these two guys, in talking to Mike Blesh, talking to both of them, they've already formed a bond, a relationship in the quarterback room. They're helping each other out, and they realize the team comes first no matter what my battle is with you. And whoever wins the job, well, I'll press you to get better. That's better for the team.
Yeah, I think that's very mature of them, because when you are in a battle like this, there's only one quarterback out there at a time. I've been in battles with receivers, and we go, okay, well, 4 of us are going to play at one time. The quarterback spot, there's only one football to go around, so for them to handle it the way that they have been, they understand that their success and their ability to get along is conducive to winning here at Cal. And it's fun. It was funny that he said, his strength coach said he reminds him of Jalen Hurts, because that's the first thing I thought when I looked and heard that young man speak.
As we welcome in Jaden Ott to the festivities here on Pac-12 Network and the Cal Spring Football Showcase. All right, since it was just thrown out there, look, I know you watch the NFL too, Jaden. Do you see the similarities between Chandler Rogers and Jalen Hurts?
Oh, yeah. I'm clowning him. First day he got here. I'm calling him Hurts all the time. Yeah. And he's from Texas. Yeah, he hasn't stopped hearing it since he got here.
Does he like it?
He'll chuckle, but I'm sure he's tired of hearing it, but I'm not tired of saying it.
Gee, I can't imagine you giving somebody a hard time. That's really hard for me to believe.
Oh, no, yeah, everybody gets a hard time, especially the new guys. But, me and Chandler are cool, man. I hosted him the first time he was going to come here before he went to UNT, and then he came out here, so, we're tight.
Jaden, I know you would love to play every single snap and touch the rock as many times as possible, but you need somebody to back you up. What do you think about that running back room so far this year?
I'm not worried, man. Like, even since last year and the first year I got here, we have a really deep RB room with a lot of different skill sets. We got Callaway this year, Byron back, and Jay Will. Hopefully he's okay, but as well as Jet and the young guys like Dean and the new freshmen coming in. Like, we got a wide variety of skills, and I'm excited to see it be put in the work in the season.
You've already established yourself, Jaden, as one of the top running backs in the country. What did you try to improve upon from last season to this season and make yourself even better?
You can always work on football IQ, so I'm working on getting smarter and ID and defenses, even better. Figuring that out with the snap of a finger, while I'm on the field. And as far as practice, every day I come out with an intention, a goal that I have for myself, whether it be working on jump technique, which is a type of technique we use in pass blocking, or whether it be something about my footwork. So yeah, I'm intentional when I come out here every day.
Jaden, I could imagine you probably had some options to get out of here if you really wanted to, but you didn't, man. You're building a legacy here. What is it about Cal that kept you here?
Yeah, no, I never heard it about any other options, but I love Cal, man. Like, it's close to home. All my family gets to come to the games. It's a good school, man. Like, when I first decided to come here, I recognized that I wanted a degree from here. I'll be graduating early here soon. So Cal is just home for me, man. Like, I've made this my home.
And you've been actively involved in the community, too, which is a great thing, Jaden. And to be involved with the Cal Summer Reading Program. Talk to us about that, your involvement, and what sparked you to get involved and try to help kids learn to read.
Yeah, to be honest, what sparked that is I used to do the reading challenges when I was younger as well, and I honestly hated it. My mom, she had forced me to do all the reading challenges at local libraries, and I was pissed, man. I didn't understand. I was like, why you got me reading all these books all summer? I want to go outside and play with my friends. But in the end, I'm actually grateful for my mom and what she did, putting me into these reading challenges, because it's helped me out here in class, especially at Cal Berkeley, made me an avid reader, and it helps me communicate with people more efficiently, like whether it be in the classroom, with my friends, in my social life, or here on the field especially.
My mom did the same with me, Jaden, so I feel you. But I ended up liking it. Reading. Did you have a favorite book coming up?
Yeah, no, see, I started a reading challenge, and like I said, I didn't like reading, but I wound up reading all the Harry Potter books in middle school. And those books is pretty big. So, and I'm sitting there reading the books like, man, why do I like this all of a sudden? But yeah.
So Jaden, the way this team finished the season last year, and to finish with those 3 wins, what did it mean to this group in the locker room to go to a bowl game and bounce back from that tough stretch that you guys had mid-season?
It meant a lot, to finish off strong, but it just wasn't enough. We got to finish, and that's been our mindset this season, this off season, preparing for this upcoming season, learning our identity as a new team, which is something, that could be hard, especially nowadays with the transfer portal and NIL and all that. So it's been an important part of the process, is coming together as a team and doing group activities and being a real tight-knit team, so that we don't have the same mishaps that we did last year.
Man, I've really enjoyed watching you run the rock these past couple of years, man. And I do a lot of shows with Shane Vereen, and you get him going. Do you remember a game or a play where you felt like, okay, I've arrived? I know you've always had the confidence, but was there a play that you remember that sticks out to you?
I would say my Arizona game last year, it was just like, it was surreal. I didn't even really know what was going on until after the game.
When you ran for like 900 yards?
Yeah. But the first play of the game was bad. I think it was a tackle for a loss. When I thought I was going to hit the crib first play, but then I saw the look that the defense gave us on the second play, and again, I was like, man, this is going to go to the crib. And then once it happened, I was like, okay, yeah, I know this was going to happen for the rest of the time here.
All right, so now you're turning in from the interviewee to the interviewer. We're going to hand it over to you, Jaden, because now you get to hold court with one of your teammates, Jack Andrews.
All right, what's up, Jaden?
What up, dog? Shoot. How's it going, Jack? How you feeling?
Feeling great today. You know, I wish I could get in a little more, but it's all good.
Nah, no reps today?
No reps for me. How about you?
Nah, man. Chilling today. Cheering on my teammates. Shoot, I wasn't even prepared. I'm not going to lie. I don't got no questions for Jack, man. Dang.
I thought you were prepared for this,
man. I had some questions for Craig. You said I was interviewing Craig.
Hey, it wasn't me. I don't know who told you to interview. You can grill Jack a little bit.
Oh, I grill him enough.
Come on,
I grill him enough.
You can give him a hard time.
Oh, man, you put me on the spot.
I got it. Jaden, what's your favorite celebration after a touchdown?
Whenever I see like the fans of the opposing team, I like to blow them a kiss. You know.
I remember that. Was that Washington State?
Washington State,
I was right behind you for that.
Yeah, of course, you know, my partner went to Washington State, so way to rub it in. That was a good dig right there. Way to go, fellas.
Right
Gotta do that.
Know your teammates, right?
All good, baby. Keep doing it.
Hey, what was it like for you guys? I'm just curious. When you win the big game and you get to go lift the axe and you get, what's it mean to you guys and how much fun, and especially, you know, Jack being local, what does it mean when you get to do something like that?
I mean, it's huge. Growing up, you know, Stanford went on that huge run for a little bit, so everyone from my kind of area was always rooting for Stanford. I was always a Cal guy.
Really? In Danville, a lot of Stanford people?
There was a lot of Stanford people. I mean, bandwagon, stuff like that. I wasn't behind that, so, you know, it was good to go to Cal and just whoop them. Freshman year we won. I didn't really do it. Mostly Jade not, you know. But I wasn't playing. But sophomore year, that's what it really meant more, especially on their home turf. Like, meant a lot to me.
There's a lot of banter that goes on the field. Who talks the most out of y'all two?
Jade not. I'm tired.
There's a shock.
Yeah, I'm tired. You know, he's got it. It's Jade not time.
Who else likes to run and talk a lot down there?
TJ Session, he got a big old mouth, man. I love that dude.
No doubt.
How about you? You were going to interview Craig, I know that, but how about Woodson? Does he like to keep it running out there on the field too?
Who?
Craig Woodson. I think a little bit. Yeah, he every once in a while he'll say something, do a little celebration or something like that, but not. You know, he's quiet.
Yeah, he's more of a silent assassin. I say Marcus Harris and Noah Williams. They like to talk. You know, and whenever they come to my sideline on practice, I'm grilling them.
So do you look when you're carrying the football, maybe, Jaden, that you see him out there on the edge? Are you running at him?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. all the DBs, man. We got a saying in our running back room, ROB. I can't say that out loud, but yeah, man.
We get the gist of it.
Yeah,
we understand.
You get it. So all those dudes catch the smoke.
You guys have obviously had some snaps with Mendoza, man. What are your thoughts on Rodgers so far?
I love Chandler, man. That guy could sling the rock. And he's been great with the tight ends, giving us the ball on all these third downs, second downs, first downs. It doesn't matter. He's giving us the ball and giving us our chance to make plays. And, you know, I can't complain with that.
How excited are you after the momentum at the end you guys had at the end of last season? The two of you, how excited are you about potential for what this team could do in the 2024 season?
Well, I spoke on that a little bit already. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think with that little 3-game win streak we had, I wish we got the 4th, but, you know, that 3-game win streak really set us up, and I think it showed us that we could beat most people. UCLA and Washington State were both ranked teams, and, I mean, they weren't at the end of the season, but when we beat them, it still meant a lot to us. And I think rolling into the ACC, I mean, we're trying to just go undefeated and just beat every team and not by a little bit, beat them by a lot.
Great stuff, guys. Really appreciate your time. Jaden, we meant to put you on the spot, of course. You know, we wanted to do that too.
All right, I'm going to be ready next time. I got it.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Jaden Ott, Jack Andrews, who really the only work they did today was with us because they were held out of the spring.
And that means they're established and they're going to be relied upon. But no, that's going to be a great combo right there. Once again, you got Ott, one of the best running backs in the nation. Andrews is a great tight end in his own right. They're going to be relied upon. They're going to play against some different competition. They mentioned the ACC. They're not going to see the typical opponent. So it should be fun and refreshing for them.
Some of the opponents will be the typical ones that they are going to have, of course, the big game against Stanford. Oregon State is on the schedule for Cal, and UC Davis, a team they're familiar with as well. So and they played Auburn last year, so a chance to go into SEC country. And a game that I think of, some of the losses that Cal had, those heartbreaking losses, and there were a few of them last year, that Cal was right there, whether it was the USC game that was back and forth last year and the high-scoring affair that Cal had with the Trojans. But the Auburn game is probably one that still stings in a lot of ways because it was early and it was a close loss. And Cal only came out of that game with 10 points despite 8 times having the ball inside the Auburn 40-yard line.
Oh, man, that has to be frustrating. I remember watching that game and feeling the frustration. But, you live and you learn. And that's why you do these situations like the red zone and the 4th and 1 and stuff, just to get more familiar with it. And it's all about executing when the other team is prepared for what you like to do and making big plays like we just saw right there in the end zone.
That is converted linebacker to tight end Nate Ruchina. And like Jack Andrews from Danville, off the pass from Belai Brummel, the redshirt freshman walk-on quarterback from West Chicago. But Nate Ruchina switching sides of the ball. And initially, and I talked to Justin Wilcox Bump about this, and he said it was almost out of necessity. We needed somebody, another body at tight end. He still could potentially go back to the other side and play some linebacker. And he's, I think, going to be a special teams guy as well for Cal. But they're getting him some reps at tight end, and all of a sudden they're looking, this guy's pretty good over on this side of the ball.
Hey, the more you can do, the longer you will be on the football field. Offense, defense, special teams, you do it all, man. So nice to see him go out there and make some plays. We've seen a lot of great one-on-one plays today.
And Ruchina, look, he's shown he's got hands because a couple of seasons ago he intercepted 3 passes. So he's got some hands. And he had 11 tackles, a career best against Stanford a few years ago. And here's the schedule that Cal has for the fall. And again, UC Davis will open up right here at Memorial Stadium August 31st. The trip to Auburn, where I'm sure it won't be humid in September 7th in the Deep South.
I've been there during that time.
San Diego State, but then a trip to the South again, Florida State. You got the U, Mario Cristobal, the former Oregon coach, coaching at his alma mater, Miami. And then you have Oregon State for the 2nd straight year coming to Berkeley. And you close it out with Stanford and then the game after Thanksgiving at SMU to close out the regular season. The pass tipped in the end zone, and breaking it up was Jair Smith. There, the JC transfer. But I look at that schedule, and look, maybe I have my blue and gold glasses on and drinking the Kool-Aid, but I look at that schedule and I'm optimistic that, you know what, double-digit wins isn't out of the question.
Why not? When you can run the football the way that they can, when you can play defense the way that they've shown over the past year, you're going to be in the fight. So it's all about just taking care of the rock. We'll see who gets most of the reps at that quarterback spot. But I'm with you, and I don't wear blue and gold glasses.
Yeah, the excitement that Cal finished the season with last year to get to a bowl game, and we'll see what it means. And a transformation for Cal football going to the fall. A lot more travel, as you saw on that schedule. I want to thank everybody involved with Pac-12 Network today. Our production for the Cal Football Spring Showcase. For everybody in the studio as well as here working a long day at Memorial Stadium. For Michael Bumpus and our Pac-12 Network crew, Roxy Bernstein, thanks for joining us for the Cal Football Spring Showcase from Memorial Stadium.